I was born with one leg shorter than the other, and it's my left
How
leg,
much?
about 2.5 inches.
Wow.
And the leg was normal, but it was 2.5 inches difference. And so I wore a built up shoe. As a kid, I got made fun of and all of that. But I had surgery when I was 9. My parents decided to lengthen the leg. And that was a risky surgery, but they decided to do that. And it screwed up the entire leg basically. And so I was left
How
with,
how were they how can you lengthen a leg? Like what were they trying to do? Do you know?
the more common, this is in the 60s, and the more common surgery for a shorter leg was to um shorten the good leg, the other leg,
Oh.
like that wasn't. And that was the more tried and true. But according to my parents, it would have left me very short. I'm about 5. I was about they figured the doctors figured I'd be about 5'2". I think if I had had the leg shortened, the other leg shortened, I would have been 5 feet. I don't know, but my parents decided to lengthen the other leg, and how they did that was, this gets a little bit maybe for those of you who are squeamish, but basically they broke the femur, and then every day, and I was in some kind of my leg was in a crazy apparatus, and every day the doctors came in and literally turned a screw to stretch to stretch the leg. And it was very painful. I was 9. I was in the hospital that first time for about 6 months.
Oh.
Basically, what happened, there were pins through my leg. Basically, the pins went through my sciatica. I lost movement of my foot, my knee, and to this, and that never came back. So I walk with a pretty profound limp. And also, too, although I did get a little bit of a stretch, I still have to wear a built up shoe because I'm about an inch and a half still shorter. That leg is shorter. So, and I ended up, because became a more disabled child, more visibly disabled, braces and all this kind of stuff. And then I developed scoliosis, which is curvature of the back, because I'd been sitting in wheelchairs for a long time, walking with crutches and braces. And I ended up in what they call a Milwaukee brace to stabilize the curve. I mean, it really was between the ages of 9 and 13, I should say. I was in and out of hospitals and dealing a lot with being different and being pulled out of mainstream society. Back then, living in the Bronx, schools weren't mainstreamed. So I was in what they called health classes. I was with other kids who were disabled. The education wasn't that great.
Mm.
Um, I was riding buses with developmentally disabled kids, which at that time, people thought I was developmentally disabled. It was an interesting way to grow up. Definitely feeling that I was on the outside looking in of what other kids were experiencing. By the time I got to junior high school, wearing a Milwaukee brace at a very
Can you explain what that is for people?
well, it's back then it was very visible. You're basically wearing a metal, there's nothing that's going to hide that brace. There are 2 bars behind, 1 bar in front. You're wearing a girdle. You have this piece that's sticking out like this to keep your neck,
Oh.
rigid. There was no way to hide it. And I was in junior high school with that. And I think that feeling shame. And also back then, I think maybe unlike today, adults kept asking what was wrong with me.
Mm.
And unfortunately, I didn't have the support of my parents who were like, "You're fine, everything's good." There wasn't a lot of emotional support.
Mm.
So I took on, to kind of end this whole thing, but I took on this idea that there was something wrong with me. And I certainly was paranoid. People staring at me. I grew up in a city, taking subways, taking buses, always feeling like there was something that I should like I should hide myself. Never quite feeling like I could like I fit in. And always, if someone was staring at me in a restaurant as I walked through, I definitely was like, oh, are they, as I got older, oh, are they staring at me because of my limp? Absolutely. It never dawned on me that they could be staring at me because I was hot or beautiful or any of that. So yeah, there, and also too, not being able to go, not being able to wear certain kinds of shoes.
Mm.
I just felt, I always felt under what's the word? Not just different, but really out of step. I think that's
Mm.
say it. A lot of shame, a lot of feeling out of step.